This is John for Global Women's Sports Radio. Today I'm on the beat. I have Jacksonville State assistant basketball coach Rabun Wright. How are you, Coach?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am great. It's good to talk to you. Looks like you're enjoying the weather out there.
I am.
So the first question I have to ask, you have a unique first name, and I noticed it's also the name of your county where you grew up.
Yes, sir.
Was that how you got the name, I assume? Or did they name the county after you?
Yeah, well, that's my fun story I like to tell, but unfortunately that's not true. My family grew up on Lake Rabun, which is also in my county. And I was actually born in Atlanta, Georgia, and my parents named me after the lake in the county, and then ended up moving me back. And I was raised in Rabun County, attended Rabun County High School, and lived there my whole childhood. So it was a very unique situation, but it was cool.
Well, that's a great story. It's a cool way to start.
Thank you.
I know you were obviously a great player in high school. Your team won the championship, but you also played overseas when you were in high school, in Switzerland at least, I know for sure.
I did. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how was it at such a young age to be playing overseas?
Well, I actually didn't play in high school overseas. That didn't really happen until I was in college, but I did do a sports internship overseas, which is kind of how I initially got connected with my contacts in Malta and Switzerland. I'm sorry. Actually, I did. I played in the Switzerland. You're talking about the USA tournament in Switzerland.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I had kind of multiple trips over there. So yes, I did. I was on a USA representative team in a tournament in Zurich, Switzerland, and played with kids from all over the nation. I forgot all about that. That was my first time actually going overseas, and it was incredible. Some of my best friends to this day were on that team, and we met up in North Carolina for about a week and trained. And then we flew over and we were in Switzerland, and we competed as a team, and then we had some 3-on-3 tournaments as well, and it was really, really cool. I made the all-tournament team and met some incredible people, and it was an awesome experience. Yeah.
And then you went on to play for the University of North Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you were an excellent player there as well. When did you start thinking about coaching?
Honestly, the true story is I never really wanted to coach. I had this idea. My undergrad was in broadcast journalism, so I knew I wanted to be around sports. I thought I wanted to be in kind of sports broadcasting, something like that. But through college and really through my injury career, so I tore my ACL twice in college, and I've a total of 4 or 5 times now. But through being on the bench and through my injuries in college, I kind of got to see the game from a different perspective, because I wasn't on the floor, but I was still very involved with the team, and I traveled with the team. I was in practices. I sat in a lot with the coaches, and I just got to see it from a different perspective than I did as a player, and that kind of started to open my eyes up to a different opportunity to use the sport and be around the sport besides being a player. And that was kind of when I first started to pique my interest about maybe I could be a coach and stay around the game. And I was really devastated that my career ended that way. And I think, God kind of rearranged my thought process of why he gave me the passion for it. And through my injuries, he kind of showed me, okay, it's not over. This is the different route for you to take. So that's kind of how that started.
I know you've only been at Jacksonville State a short time. How have you liked it so far?
It's been great. I'm actually still remote down in Florida right now. I'm kind of flying back and forth until I find a place to live. But I started on May 10th, and it's been really, really awesome getting to know my staff and getting to know the department a little bit. I was up there last week. They're just really, really great people on campus, and I'm really excited to get started there.
And when you started coaching, when you first got your job, or when you were first applying for jobs coaching, did you pattern your coaching after anybody in particular? Or did you take little bits from everybody? Like, how do you make yourself, like, your mindset of a coach?
Yeah, I mean, getting started, I've had kind of a unique experience. As a GA, I had 2 different bosses in 2 years. And then here at Florida Southwestern State, I had 2 different bosses in 3 years, and now I'm going on to my 5th. And so I've been lucky in the aspect of being able to learn from a lot of different people in a short amount of time. And I think there's just so many different things you can take away from everybody that you work for. Everybody has a different philosophy on how they, not just X's and O's, but just structure of a program and coaching philosophies and player relation philosophies. And so I think that I've had a very unique experience in the fact that in 5 years, I've been able to learn from 4 different people. And so, you take little bits and pieces from each of those experiences. And that's why I'm in the business. That's why I was looking to move on. And, that's ultimately why I took the job at Jacksonville State, is because I want to continue to learn and grow and develop as a coach.
Do you think you want to stay in the collegiate level for your career, or would you like to try the WNBA at some point?
I would love to try the WNBA at some point. Yes, I'm a big advocate for that. I love that level. I think that would be such a cool, unique experience. And so, my initial, goal was always to just get in collegiate athletics, get to the Division I level, kind of try my hand at, whatever I can. But yes, absolutely. If a WNBA, opportunity ever presented itself, I would take that for sure.
I shouldn't have limited it just to the WNBA, because now there are women entering the NBA as assistant coaches and eventually probably a coach and in the front office.
Right.
Would that be something that would have any interest to you?
It's funny. Yeah, I've had lots of conversations this year with colleagues about, other female colleagues about the opportunities that, are now presenting themselves for women to coach men. And I think that's really, really cool and something that's, it's past due, but I'm really excited that we're finally getting to the point where that's starting to be more of a normality. And, it's just been really exciting to watch those women break those barriers for us. We even at a local level, I got invited to coach a high school men's all-star game this year, and the guy who ran it, his intention was just to sort of put women on the sidelines coaching boys. And even though that's on such a smaller scale, it was a really cool experience, because that's not something that you would have seen kind of years past. And so yeah, absolutely. To me, basketball is basketball. For me, I do it for the athletes. I love watching athletes grow and helping empower them and achieve their goals. So whether that's man or woman, at whatever level, I would be open to all those opportunities.
Well, it's interesting. You said it's a small step, and it might have been a small step, but it's a step. And,
Right.
It's all these small steps like that are just creating more opportunities for women in the WNBA and in the men's league. I think it's fantastic. I think the women that have gone so far, and there's so many others that are qualified, and I certainly would hope that you would get an opportunity on some level in either of the leagues. But if I could ask you a little bit about the ministry that you do. I know you're very involved in it. I know that you're very vocal about it. If you could speak up a little bit about the work you've done.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, my faith is very important to me, and that's not something I'm ashamed about. It's been, something that has shaped and molded specifically my coaching career. Again, as I mentioned before, this is not something I really ever envisioned myself doing, but I was definitely led to it. And so, I think that it's something that I've tried to stay very true to, and I view basketball as my ministry in a way. I think that, I always say basketball changed my life, but, really God changed my life through basketball and what I was able to achieve, the places I've been, the parts of the world I've seen, the friends I have. I would have not had that unless, God had given me this passion for the sport and enabled me to use it the way that he did. And so I feel a very strong sense of responsibility to give back in that way and to use it for the same way for young athletes. And so, I've had a very unique experience in the ministry. If you had asked me in 2015, 16, I would have told you that I was going to be a full-time sports ministry overseas, living in Malta for the rest of my life. I thought that was for sure what I was called to do, and I did that for a little while, and I loved it, and I still do. My heart's still, partly overseas, but I felt through a series of events called to come back home, and that's kind of where I fell into college coaching. And, I've, through my few years being a college coach, have realized more than ever what a ministry this platform can be, and, how important it is to have people of faith in this, in this career. And so, for me, God's led me here, and I trust him in that. And, just like this new job, I trusted that, that fell in my lap for a reason, and that's where I'm supposed to be. And just trying to, live by that faith and trust in him that, I can use this for good, and hopefully positively impact young women and help them see the potential they have, not only as a basketball player, but as a child of God. And, that their identity is in more than just the sport, because that's something that I struggled with as an athlete, because it was important to me and it's life-changing for me, but it wasn't all that I was. And so once I realized that I was more than that, it really changed my life. And so I take that very seriously to try and help empower young women to know that they're more than just wins and losses and points and rebounds. And so I try to do that.
Well, along those same lines, you're also very vocal about the social justice movement.
Yes,
and I think it's very important for, women, well, all people really, but people that aren't of color to speak up about it. And you're doing just that. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, I think if you're not, I felt there was no other choice, I guess, is the easier way to say it. This past year has been incredibly eye-opening for many people, including myself. And in the position of influence that I was, with the young women that I had, it felt almost like, there was no other choice but to speak up for what's right. And I think a lot of times people in professions, especially professional professions at this level, are afraid to say the wrong thing or, to speak out about controversial issues because of their job. But for me, it's not a controversial issue. It's just a matter of basic human rights. And I felt very passionate about speaking up for, what's right and what's wrong. And as someone not of color, I think it's even more important because, there's no part of me that will ever be able to relate to the struggles that they go through and to the things that pain the people that I'm with every single day. So the least I can do is speak up and say that it's wrong, and I tell people all the time, hopefully one day, this is not the world that I would like to raise my kids in. I think that we have so much farther to go. And this year was just the tipping point of us starting to take steps towards that progress. And it's going to take everybody, and I think that it's just important for everyone, no matter what gender or color you are, to speak up for what's right and what's wrong. And I felt very passionate about making sure that, that I did. So.
Well, I think it's fantastic because, I follow you on social media. You are very vocal. You're very open about it, but you don't do it in a preach way or a condescending way or anything like that. I thought it's actually one of your taglines on one of your accounts where it says, just be a good human. It's just that simple. And I think that, it's such a simple statement, but it's so powerful and so accurate. For you to lead off your social, your social media account with that, I just think it's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it really should be that simple. I think that it shouldn't be that hard, but we do live in a world that's so discriminatory on so many levels, and we work in a profession that's discriminatory on so many levels, and it's just, it seems simple, but again, going back to faith, that's what I view my faith as. I think God calls me to love people, period, no matter what. And I think that's what he's called us all to do. And so to live in a world that's full of so much hate versus so much love is difficult. And I just hope to be a little ounce of love. And again, because I don't know everything, and I'm still learning and growing and trying to educate myself as well. And I've appreciated those opportunities as well to get to know so many people through these social justice topics. And, but I think it's important for people to say, I don't know everything, but I'm learning. And what I'm trying to learn is out of love,
No, and you're doing a fantastic job. And I'm twice your age and I'm still learning and I'm still trying to understand it all and still trying to do my part. So, I think it's fantastic that a role model like yourself is out there doing it because you've got kids that are following you. And it's not just little girls that are following you. I know you've got, there's boy fans out there as well. But before I let you go, if we could just talk a few lighter topics. You've been all over the world. Could you pick 2 or 3 of your favorite places where you've been or places where you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, that's easy.
Okay.
So one of my favorite places in the entire world is this little town in Italy called Bobbio Pulice, and it's where I did my first FCA internship. I went back when I was living in Malta with the people I was working for, and It's just the smallest, most authentic, tiny Italian town at the bottom of the Italian Alps. The road you drive to get to the town, it actually ends at the hostel where we stayed, and there's just, there's no more road. It's just the mountains, and it was a life-changing atmosphere for me, and so that place holds a very, special place in my heart. And then the island of Malta, obviously, is where I lived for a little while, and it's just an incredibly unique culture. The island itself is just so cool. And I'm so excited to finally be able to travel again and go back and visit people. And I love that. So Italy and Malta are probably the two places that hold, closest to my heart. I've always wanted to travel to Greece. It's one place I've never been able to get to. And Australia, I really want to go everywhere. I love to travel. I love to see the world. Italy will always have a special place in my heart, so I'll always go back there. But I'd love to see Greece. I actually had a girl on my team this year from Cyprus, Greece, and she would always show me pictures from her little island, and it just looks incredible. I love the ocean, so that would be awesome to visit there.
Well, I just talked to the WNBA assistant coach, Jackie Demelos, and she's very fond of Greece too. She spends a lot of time playing there. I've got a lot of Greek friends, so I would love to go to Greece as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful country.
It is, yeah.
One last question for you.
Sure.
The University of Georgia Bulldogs. You're a big football fan.
I am a big football fan. Yes, go Dogs. That's my team for sure.
Does that go back to your youth, or is it a more like? Do you follow the Atlanta Falcons as well, or is it just the Bulldogs?
Mostly the Bulldogs. I mean, I grew up in Georgia, so I try to be a fan of all the Georgia teams. But I grew up in a family that was a diehard Georgia football team. We were Georgia football, Duke basketball. We watched Georgia games too, but Georgia football was a ritual for us. So it's been instilled in me, and I'm about to move to Alabama, so I know I'm going to be hearing a lot of Roll Tide, but I'll be a dog fan until the day I die, for sure.
Hey, I like that loyalty. Go Dogs, and it's absolutely.
Oh yeah. No matter what, no one will sway me. That's for sure.
Well, you are a woman of your convictions. I've seen that from everything that you've talked about, from everything that I've learned about you, and I admire that tremendously. Not just in basketball, but in life. Before I let you go, is there any place that you want to direct people to follow you online at all?
Sure, yeah. You can follow me on Twitter. It's just at Coach Rabun. And then my Instagram is rabun.wright, which is my first and last name. But everything will be at Coach Rabun pretty soon. So Twitter is my main source of social media. You can follow me there at Coach Rabun. And on the JSU website now, if you have any basketball, questions or anything, I have my JSU email up there as well.
Well, I follow you. I encourage everyone else to follow you. I wish you a lot of luck in the upcoming season. And I really appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I admire the work you're doing, and I just say keep it up. It's people like you, it's especially women like you that are changing the world, and I think it's fantastic. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, and you have a great day. Enjoy the weather.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.